Namaste. It's the Spiritual Daywalker with your tarot card reading for this new moon phase, and it's a solar eclipse, so that means we're in eclipse season. Aries, this is gonna rearrange some shit around you. I'm gonna say you're gonna be fine with moving out of this, but not exactly moving into this rearrangement. So there is a challenge for all of us in here. It's gonna be very interesting, this eclipse season, right? But you're doing well with what it's gonna, what it's gonna unlock within you. Yeah. So that's it. That's it. We don't have to do the reading anymore. I kind of know. No. Let's see. We're gonna do the DNA spread. That is your soul's decision coming into manifestation. See how you're working through this, and yeah, your soul card is 10 of coins. You're manifesting legacy, right? So your soul decided it's time to go for the big bucks. It's time to make it really worth something, right? 10 of coins is about generating abundance. Now that is in the soul spot, so that is where you want to be heading, or rather that inner drive that is unlocking things within you. Now let's see how you're manifesting that into your reality. In the spot of the 9, there's the Lovers. There you go. The spot of the 9 signifies your topic for this reading, or rather the topic for the overall challenge. The 9 is like a spiritual enema. It is my lesson card, right? The lesson number, right? So the spot of the 9 as the Lovers signifies, it has to do something with soul contracts. So on a very deep level, you're supposed to have this experience. It's not so much about romantic love. It's more about the commitment that this love is tied to, right? If you want a 10 of coins, you got to commit to whatever you're building, and that's what it's about. It's not so much a love reading. It is more you finding your self-love and love for what you're doing here by having that 10 of coins as a carrot on a stick, where you're like, okay, this is what I'm going for. I'm committing to this, and there's many ways to go about it. I will find them all and choose the best one. Let's see what way you find. In the spot of the 10, that is Malkut, the manifestation, there's a Knight of Coins. Well, for some, this could actually mean lovers, right? And that's interesting, because this is a very, if that is love for you, Knight of Coins, like someone coming in holding that coin for you, that someone is providing stability. A sense of stability doesn't exactly have to mean bringing in money, but can be like a resourceful person that gives you like a base of operations where you feel secure being in your own energy, right? But it's tied to a commitment, and the commitment is going to be interesting for you, Aries, right? Because you're wanting the 10 of coins, like you want stability, longevity, family, whatever it is, right? But something that is there for the long run, and that is there to stay and to multiply, right? That's what your soul decided. It's time to go for that, right? So what you're manifesting is this guy here, right? That basically says, well, this is what you got to do to earn it, right? Commit to it, right? That's very cool. So this is the energy you're adopting, but it's gonna be triggered from the outside, someone coming in. So for some of you, that means a relationship romantically. For some of you, that means like a job offer where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this now. I'm not going to quit after a year when shit gets rough. I'm going to just pull through this and truly be there, right? commit to it, right? And it's going to feel like it. It's not you having to like persuade yourself. No, no, no. You're going to want this. Mm-hmm. Imagine like you're a very like a fiery person, right? And suddenly there come, especially now in that eclipse season, there comes a Taurus, and that Taurus is unmovable, right? It's like slowly doing his thing, but never rattled. No matter how you shout at them, no matter how passionate you are in your own energy, they always find you cute, right? And that gets you even more upset, but actually you do like it and you do admire it. And all they want in return is for you to not run away, right? And even if you did, they give you the sense of even that would be okay, right? So that's like, how can you be so calm? It's like, isn't that, well, that's just who they are, and that's how they inspire you, right? That's the energy you're manifesting to get to that 10 of coins, is grounding, right? And you can take that quite literally. It's an earth energy meeting your fiery core, or your fiery core meeting an earth energy, where you're like, um, well, earth is like, doesn't give a fuck about fire, right? Earth doesn't burn, right? It's like, yeah, so what, you know? And that is kind of shattering for you, but coming from that soul energy, like your inner drive is to look for exactly that. So this is what you're manifesting. That's very much aligned with what you're looking for. Very beautiful. Like this can be going for that job you always wanted, committing to that, right? This can be committing to a person that is so different from the guys you dated before, right? Um, it can be like committing yourself to being a different person, but it's very much you trying it's very much you getting grounded and grounding yourself, driven by that longing for something to fall back on, for something stable. Now make no mistake, for you as an Aries, something stable doesn't mean to be in stagnation. It means to have that sense of security with your own energy also, that you can be free, because you know there's always that safety net. You know there's enough trust so you don't have to always reaffirm it, you know. That gives you a freedom, right? Like a long leash or whatever. So this is not about being immobilized, right? This is about you being empowered to be more of who you are. And that's security, that safety, that is going to make you commit to this, right? Commitment can be, you know, scary, but this doesn't feel scary at all for you. First, maybe because it's so different from what you're used to, right? But the moment you realize it's going to help you be more of who you want to be, how you want to be, that's when you can commit to the idea of having this for the long term. Whatever it is, if it's business or relationship, or a business relationship, or a relationship at the workplace, where you're like, okay, if we do this, we really got to make it work, because we're gonna have to see each other every day, right? Like, yeah, then commit to this being like a soulmate relationship, right? And their soulmates, like soulmate is not exactly romantic, right? It's deeper than that. It's way deeper. Like your boss can be your cat can be a soulmate, for fuck's sake, you know. It's like it can actually be like getting a dog or a cat, especially like with a dog, because it kind of needs more care, and the dog is so not your energy, right? A cat would be more like an Aries energy. A dog, like, dog wants to shower you in water, like in love, you know. And you're like, fuck, can I take care of this? Like, there's no going back, right? Taking that dog is like, shit, I gotta commit now, you know. I gotta feed the guy, right? Fuck. um that Knight of Coins can be a dog, right? So for some of you, that might be it. But you always decide, your free will decides how you want to experience your reality. What is the same, though, is the underlying energy. So some of you will have that same experience of having to commit to something with a dog. Some of you with a romantic relationship. Most of you probably. Since it's Pentacles, a lot of you will have that with a business relationship. Where like, okay, this is the job. This time I'm gonna stick to it. This feels just like the right thing to do, you know, and you're committing to that job. So whatever it is, the underlying energy is there. You're going for what your soul decided. You're manifesting that. Seems very beautiful. Now let's see how the energies around it are balancing out, like what you're going through internally and then externally down here. Spot of the one. Five of Swords in reverse. Yeah, that is making up your mind, right? Make like five is a change, and swords is mind energy, so that's making up your mind, cutting ties with mindsets that don't serve you. Seems not to be exactly easy, but since it's something that gets you moving, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be behind you or very quickly, in a sense, where you, or at least like you get the impulse where you're like, okay, if I want that 10 of coins, this is not it, right? These guys around me always talking bullshit, right? Always worried about what's in the news and whatever, and I just want to live my fucking life. I don't want to be like, I don't want naysayers around, all that stuff. That's a five of swords where you're like, guys, I love you, but I gotta go. This is not helping, right? um so that's the impulse you get in the spot of the one. The impulse is received by the spot of the two that is kind of balancing it out. Is the seven of coins. Yeah, yeah. That is, the seven of coins is tending to your garden, planting the seeds, but also like evaluating. It's like watching those seeds grow, see which ones grow, what's the best way to achieve the best harvest, right? Um, all that stuff. So it's like energy of evaluating, looking at your reality. What didn't work for me? What did work for me? And that is where that five of swords is triggering you into, where you realize, well, fuck, this is getting on my nerves right here. I cannot think about this anymore. All right, like, what does it bring me, right? What's it worth, right? And you're trying to figure out a strategy how to get out of this, how to take only what you what is good for you from that situation, right? So it totally makes sense that coming from a mind energy, you're taking a, like, and making that decision to cut ties with things that don't serve you, right? From a mind's perspective, then going into that earth energy of the seven of coins is like taking stocks, like, okay, my soul wants that 10 of coins. It wants the abundance. It wants the family, the legacy, all of it, right? And we're going for it. And this five of swords, like this mindsets I surround myself with, these naysayers I surround myself with, these negative news and information I surround myself, or I take in, they are just not cutting it for me. So what does cut it for me, right? That's that seven of coins where you're like, okay, let's look at the facts, right? The fact is, we know shit about this world. So what do you make of this? In the spot of the three, that's the insight you're getting that gets you into a direction. That's a temperance in reverse. Very interesting is the temperance. What's the temperance? That's an Aquarian energy, isn't it? Which would make sense because it's air and looking for the truth, right? Temperance in reverse. Yeah, yeah, it's enough with the healing for you, right? So you've been working on yourself, Aries, but I feel like you're finding more. Um, you're finding your core. You're finding yourself right here, and struggling with that healing, but also leaving that healing behind. So your healing is basically deciding that you heal enough. right? That you're done forcing yourself to look at arguments that actually make you feel shitty. Well, there's not exactly the feeling in here, but the Five of Swords means you're making up your mind, right? And the insight about the Temperance in reverse is like, enough with the patience. I gotta go for it, and I gotta well, step up to the plate, step up to that challenge of the 10 of coins, really make it work here. Mm. And since it's from the internal, it's not so much struggling with patience, it's more insight about that patience can also make you stagnant, always trying to heal yourself. The only thing that's going to come from always trying to heal yourself is you're always going to be trying to heal yourself, right? So you can heal yourself your entire fucking life. And the only, well, that's well intentioned, right? But it only makes sense if you're a life coach, right? If you're really in the business of like digging up your shit and working with it. If that's what you like to do, go for it. But since you're an Aries, you rather like to go for things without thinking about it too long. And coming out of that Temperance is like, okay, done with the healing now. We want to manifest something that is real. Now we know from that 7 of coins, from that evaluation, what doesn't work. Let's try something different here. So in a spot of the 4, the idea that gives you a sense of stability, where you feel home, that's your fallback energy in this phase, is a Knight of Cups in reverse. Interesting. That it's in reverse is interesting. It's supposed to give you stability. Well, the Knight of Cups is water energy, right? And that can be challenging for you. But it's love also, right? Kind of get the sense that it's an X, because it's coming from that 7 of coins. Because it's coming from that 7 of coins, where you realize you're evaluating something, right? And the sense of stability you gain from that is that this Knight of Coins was in reverse, right? It's like, no, I'm not too harsh. You're too sensitive, that kind of deal. It's like, I'm not, I'm not reckless. You're just too cautious, right? You're too stagnant. You're always talking about healing yourself. I don't know, fucking drinking your own piss out of a out of a fruit bowl. Oh shit, the stuff you see on Instagram. No, like, for real, you're realizing that even though at some point you idealize this sensitive water energy, you realize the downside of it, where you're like, you know what? Actually, if you're always in your fields, you never get moving. So the sense of stability you gain from that is like, I don't have to idealize the energy that which I'm not. I want to idealize the energy that I am, which is more getting out of that Knight of Cups, out of that oversharing emotion, right? So that is the idea that you will fall back on when the going gets tough, in a sense, when your 7 of coins points you towards something that didn't exactly work out for you. You're going to realize, why that Knight of Cups didn't work out for me? Because it's just not matching, because they were just like crying all the time. And yeah, I can appreciate a good cry, but what does it serve us? That is the fallback energy. Now, fucking with that fallback energy in a spot of the 5, the thing that, well, causes friction and conflict, which is kind of good because you're coming from change, right? So the 5 of Swords, that is a change of mind. So the 5 going to be a positive for you, and it's a Queen of Cups. Interesting. Huh. It's love. It's love and self-worth. And that Queen of Cups is looking at that Knight of Cups like, see? She's looking like that. So she's looking at that Knight of Cups in reverse, where basically, yeah, basically like telling the guy, well, I get that you're sensitive, but you don't have to be such a bitch about it, you know. Um, I'm not talking genders here, right? That Knight of Cups can be a man or a woman. The Queen of Cups can be a man or a woman. This is about the um, the polarity of the energy. So the Knight of Cups is like a masculine, progressive way of making your emotions known, right? And the Queen of Cups is the receptive, feminine, receptive way of accepting your emotions and feeling good about them, right? So it's the same, but different, right? And um, well, the thing that gives you a sense of stability, where you're like, okay, at least, is a Knight of Cups in reverse. Like, at least I don't have to tell everybody how I'm feeling, right? Enough with the fucking talking, right? And the thing that causes friction or kind of fucking with like balancing that out is a Queen of Cups, is that self-worth, is that you do have to accept them, right? So if you don't want to talk about them, if you don't want to overshare, um, you still have to feel them, right? You still have to cherish your emotionality. And but since it's coming from that Five of Swords, it's more about the self-worth, right? It's more about, you want that change, you want to feel better about yourself, and you don't want to be lashed out at from a Knight of Cups that is not exactly in balance with himself or herself, right? From always like putting their negative way of dealing with emotions upon you, and you're changing, spot of the five, right? You're changing into that Queen of Cups. Now, that can also be someone else coming in, right? It can be the same person, where you see like upside and downside of that, where you see like, okay, they're overly sensitive, but the way they deal with emotion, or like the fact that they deal with their emotion, is actually something that you cherish. So it can be also this energy trying to balance itself, right? Not to overshare, but to do accept it, that balancing out. Um, but it's going to balance out, and it's bringing me back to the initial thought with that Queen of Cups. It's balancing out towards your idea of self-worth, where you're like, I don't have, like, yeah, I know my feelings are there, and like and I have to respect that others deal with them in a different way, but this is how I want to do it, right? This is how I want to deal with my emotions, how I want to feel about myself. And yeah, that is that Queen of Cups self-worth kind of deal. And it's very loving with that Knight of Cups, like whatever, whoever that person is in your life. And I strongly get the sense that it is a person. Like I said, don't have to be romantic. Um, it can be tied to even though the lovers with the Queen and the Knight looks very romantic here. It can be tied to like a work situation, blah. Um, it's very much about not trying to put your emotions onto people, or not trying, like, well, not trying, no, trying not to put your emotions onto people, but dealing with them in a healthy and mature way, by like accepting them lovingly, compassionately. That's the Queen of Cups. That's the love there, like true love. That is compassion. Even if you realize someone is like lashing out because they're not able to deal with their emotions in a proper manner, you don't have to engage. You can still love them though, right? Like, you're accepting their incapability of dealing with this shit, but you don't have to let that situation, or let them put you down and make you feel bad about yourself. That is that compassion, that emotional wisdom that the Queen of Cups is bringing and that you're changing into, right? That you kind of learn from that Knight of Cups. So evaluating what, very much for you as a fire sign, evaluating what way of dealing with emotions is healthy for you and makes you feel good about yourself. Very freaking interesting. A lot of knights here, huh? Knight of Cups in reverse, Knight of Coins. Very interesting. Let's see how this goes on into manifestation. The spot of the 7, that is what gives you a sense of identity, is the 10 of Wands in reverse. A lot of passion. 10 of Wands is the full cycle of fire energy. So it can be tied to, well, taking on too much, not focusing on one thing, but trying to like make it all work at the same time. I strongly get the sense that you realizing something about yourself, that you're better when focusing on one thing at a time to fully commit to it, because that's the Lovers in the middle, right? Where you realize you've been dealing with that 10 of Wands, with like keeping your options open, right? Doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and all that stuff. This has been attached to you. Like you've been attached to the idea of a 10 of Wands, of having like a million passions, right? A million lovers, a million ways to go about things, a million projects, whatever. And since that's in reverse, and you're learning so much about commitment and committing to that long-term idea, that idea of stability and longevity, that is you realizing something about your identity being tied to that, keeping your options open and flipping that around, where you're like, okay, actually, I can be more productive and I feel better about myself when I commit to something, right? It's kind of a second narrative from that Knight of Cups, though. Gonna bring it together. But you're gonna realize that this commitment is actually something that you're allowed to have. Like you're allowing yourself to commit to whatever it is that you want here. Let's see, the idea that gives you abundance on the other side. It's a very beautiful reading. The idea that gives you abundance in the spot of the 8 is the 8 of Swords. Huh. When the 8 of Swords comes as sort of an advice card, and for me the 8 is an advice card, right? Because it's tied to abundance. It kind of, it has to do with your mind's conviction, with like weathering a storm in a sense, staying strong, picking your arguments, right? Choice of weapons, all that stuff. So that 8 of Swords can be caging you in. It can be a mindset that is caging you in, right? Since it's kind of linked to your sense of identity shifting with that 10 of Wands, yeah, and it's working with the 5 of Swords here, the 8 of Swords, the 5 of Swords. So you're very much picking your, well, you're picking what you want to believe in, right? Like cherry picking your belief systems, which is very beautiful. So you realize that a certain way of doing things is not how you want to run them, not how you want to do things, how it comes naturally to you, right? And you're shifting in the process. Have to look at this lower half in a more practical way in a second, but I want to see what you're learning from that 10 of Wands and 8 of Swords in reverse, other way around, 10 of Wands in reverse and 8 of Swords. And the spot of the 6, that's the thought that gives you stability. not stability, a thought that gives you, um, well, that elevates your experience, that makes you breathe, right? Like a receptive internal insight about how to feel better. It's a sorts. That is the truth, and that is truth, focus, concentration. So basically, what I said right here, you're realizing that you've been keeping your options open, because you think that it's just that you thought that's just how you had to do it. Um, but you're realizing that Eight of Swords, that A, it has been caging you in, because B, there were mindsets that you were adopting. No, you've been adopting them. You've not been adapting them, and that is the issue, right? Where you realize, actually, 7 of those swords I can throw away. I only need that one. I need that one conviction about that clarity, that focus, right? And that's what you're gaining from this. So it seems very beautiful, very freaking beautiful. So you're manifesting either, well, either you're manifesting a person that is different from what you knew, right? So you've been idealizing someone that is very emotional, then realizing, actually, that's a little too much, you know? For me, it's a little too much. I want someone that is more composed with their emotionality. I do get it. I do get that emotions are important, blah, but I cannot commit to this side. So you're manifesting a Knight of Coins, which is someone that is not afraid of emotions, right? Earth is going very good with water, because it's basically both feminine, it's basically both receptive, right? So the earth is receiving the water. Um, it's both about nourishment, right? So, but it's more grounded and it's more in the world, like the earth, right? It is more focused on how to actually make a living, how to actually make shit work, how to really be calm and not just be open to emotions and being in the flow, and you know, drinking your own piss from your cup. Shit, the shit you see on Instagram. No, it seems like the energy is shifting. So either the person you're dealing with is shifting their energy from a Knight of Cups into a more grounded energy where you're like, okay, fuck, I gotta step up here, like, get my shit together, because that's the Knight of Coins. That's the Knight of Coins is the Knight of Cups in reverse, getting his shit together. Um, so that can be the same person going through a metamorphosis, right? Where you're like, oh, okay, their metamorphosis means I can transfer also into that new me, which is not trying to keep their options open, but has the clarity and the focus to focus on, to commit to that one thing, right? Now let's transfer this to a job, right? Where you either had many projects, or maybe the way you were working in that job were always trying to micromanage shit and like doing this and that, because there's always that Eight of Swords where you're like, yeah, but if I don't do it, shit is going to be done wrong or not done at all, and whatever. All those belief systems that actually kind of kept you in doing the same, like making the same mistakes over and over again, and like making, like doing too much with too little effort, right? Which costs you a lot of, like, it's a lot of energy wasted. And you're realizing something about that. You're realizing it's like, okay, I got to get my shit together here, right? So this can also be your energy. It's like, I got to get my shit together, right? I've been dealing with emotionality here with water energy, but I actually don't want to be so progressive about it, so totally oversharing, so overindulgent in emotionality. I'd rather be passionate and fiery, and I just know my worth. I accept my feelings as they are, but this too shall pass. And the more I accept that about myself, how I want to love, the more I find something that matches the idea, right? It's like in a relationship, it's like, okay, if I accept this is the relationship I want, that's when I find a relationship I can truly commit to, right? That is grounding me and not stirring me up all the time, right? Or trying to quench my fire, because that's what happens, right? When the fire energy is meeting a Knight of Cups in reverse, it's like either you hate that person or you hate yourself, because it's like antagonistic, and that Knight of Cups in reverse is a lot, right? That is that cup spilling over. So where was I? If you view it in a jobs perspective, it's like trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do this and that and whatever, instead of focusing on what you really like doing, because this is where you're best at, right? That means committing to that, right? And it can also mean that a colleague or a project is coming in that is gonna, it could be a project that's gonna make you be able to focus on one thing. It could come with someone coming in that actually does their job right, that gives you the sense of, hey, I can focus on what I actually want to do right here, right? Or I don't have to do this anymore because they actually know what they're doing. I just thought they were too slow, but the way they were doing it actually saves us time in the long run. So I can let this go. I can let them take care of what they're good at, so I can take care of what I'm good at and commit to that fully, right? Stop with the energy waste, with that 10 of Wands in reverse. Stop wasting that fucking energy. Focus on what you like doing, in a sense, or what makes you feel like that Queen of Cups, right? You're moving into that self-worth by moving out of these mindsets that didn't work for you, which was being overindulgent and immature with emotions, where you at first thought, yeah, I have to be a little more sensitive and empathetic, and then you realize, but I don't feel good about this because I actually want to get shit done, right? And you're doing it. You're getting shit done, and you're getting help from the universe here, which is very beautiful. So to wrap it up right here, whether you're in a business relationship or in a romantic relationship or whatever, getting a dog, something is coming in. You're manifesting something here that gives you a sense of stability, that makes you able to focus on the thing you want to commit to. That can be that person, it can be a job, whatever, but you're going to be able to focus on what you truly want to commit to, and it's going to give you a sense of self where you're like, you know what, I'm done confronting myself with bullshit. This is what I like doing. I got clarity now about what I need, how I want to love. This is what I want to do, and I'm sticking to that. That is a very beautiful insight, very beautiful reading. um, and well, yeah, you're gonna feel real good about it. And like I said in the very beginning, going into the experience, gonna feel a little cranky, but like, ah, shit, I gotta change something up. This is not working. How, like, what did work in the past? How do I want to do this? Yada yada yada, right? And having an insight that is very emotional, going deep into how you want to love, how you want to experience water energy, right? And then you're going to transfer that into like real life value, right? By having an insight about the truth that you want to focus on, right? Your truth. So that's very beautiful. How you're manifesting this is very, very freaking beautiful, right? And you're going deep, Aries. You're going deep within yourself and setting things right and being straight with yourself, where you're like, you know what? Actually, this is how I want to be. And this is the version of me I want to commit to being for for a long time to come. Very beautiful. Aries, if that resonated with you, drop a comment, like and subscribe. Check out daywalker-bali.com. And if you want a personal reading, just hit me up. Is there anything else? Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff coming up. I will keep you informed. On daywalker-bali.com, you can subscribe to the newsletter. And yeah, thank you so much for being with me, for sharing your energy. Enjoy this phase. Enjoy this transformation. Is going to be amazing. I love you.